big, gigantic global brands are struggling with digital. What I see, it's a big leveling field. You can start a very good business from your living room using a computer, and you can expand globally very quickly. And it's painfully leveling field. It's mathematics.
When you're scrolling, for example, on social media, people don't have attention anymore. So it's really important to have some consistency in branding. It's good to have this capability of withstanding criticism.
It's very easy to make very costly mistakes without having total picture.
Katja, Andrej, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We'll start with Katja. How did your path bring you to this studio? What kind of work did you do before? What kind of work do you do now?
So I started to work with this studio. It was just when I started my bachelor's degree in graphic and interactive communications. And basically, I was thinking it would be a good thing that I work in my field, that I get some experience. And I was just chatting with one of my friends. And he knew Matej, so he connected us, and basically we just, we scheduled a meeting. That was still before COVID, when the studio still had an office. And we went for a coffee, so it was a bit of a unconventional kind of first meeting, or like first interview, if you would say so. And I have good memories about that, because I still remember, how I felt. I was a bit nervous, but and also Paul was there, and he was really we were sitting at a cafe, and he was he told me, he saw that sun was shining into my face, and saw that I was nervous, and he was like, oh, you should sit somewhere else. And they were always really kind to me and really welcoming. So yeah, we just started, and first we were supposed to start, I was supposed to be in marketing, but we soon found out that wasn't really my forte. So then after, basically, we started to work more on different projects that were more about design. So that was about 6 years ago when we met, and only 2 years ago we started to work together more consistently. And it just somehow naturally came that we started to, appreciate each other, and we just like to work with each other. So here we are now.
Your relationship with digital marketing is much longer than 6 years.
Yeah, it's beginning to be in 20 years now. The relationship itself is ripe for retirement, I suppose.
So tell us about the relationship and the digital marketing.
Yeah, I first started working in digital environments in a startup from Slovenia. It was Mimo Vrste, the e-commerce, and it's right in the time when it was beginning to show great growth. It was in a certain phase from something that kicked off and was stable, and then it needed to know what it wants to become. And that was roughly 20 years ago. I did work there for 2 years, and then I went freelancing, working with agencies in digital marketing, digital performance marketing agencies, and then completely freelance, working directly with clients, with e-commerce, with other types of businesses. And that's the short story in a 20-year career.
What about digital marketing? In a few words, how do you see digital marketing? What is it? If through your eyes, what is the digital marketing?
I'm so much involved in this that it's sometimes really difficult to explain even to myself. What I see, it's a big leveling field. It's even painfully leveling field. What I mean by that is big, gigantic global brands are struggling with digital. It was a surprise for them. And also small business, and also even digitally native businesses, Matej has explained before, make major mistakes. I think part of that is people forget it's mathematical, it's computers, it's systems, it's programmed. So I think that's what's going on. Very challenging field, very great potential. For instance, you can start a very good business from your living room using a computer, having this great bright idea, product, service, something, and you can expand globally very quickly. That's opportunity. But overall, it's a big leveling field, and behind of this leveling effect, it's mathematics.
Design is very important in digital marketing.
Yes.
Explain a little bit from your view.
So, when you're scrolling, for example, on social media, people don't really have much of attention anymore. So it's really important to have something eye-catching and, to have some consistency in branding. So, when people are just like quickly scrolling, that they can see, that they already associate the colors and your logo and everything with you. If you're not consistent, then you're gonna be like lost in this whole social media and like marketing department. So, yeah.
It's very crowded space.
Yeah.
Consistency, yes, but to stand out, it's very hard today to stand out because there are all possibilities already there. So how do you do it? Do you think about standing out, or you just think about creating? What is your process of work?
Well, I like to do, branding, and it's, it really depends on the client. But me, from my perspective, because I'm also studying like family and marriage therapy, and I also learned a lot of tools there. So it's really, it's good to have this knowledge of how you can listen to people and, your clients, and in a way that you can bring out their authentic self. So I always focus on bringing out their authenticity. And basically, I believe that, if you're authentic, you're going to stand out anyway, because like everything is, you can just do it, copy paste and like do what everyone is doing, or you can actually take some time, think about it and, really go into what you want to present outwardly, like what kind of emotions do you want to evoke in the people, their clients, what colors, what vibe you want to bring out. And I can basically, like, my job is to talk with people and like to understand what they want, even if they don't have really an idea visually what that would look like. Yeah.
So that's with the design and the process. How about the whole digital marketing? It must be quite similar and also very saturated field.
Yeah, and it's a good intersection of digital marketing, especially performance marketing, creativity. It's precisely because saturation. It's very easy to end up looking, feeling, and sounding and performing just like everybody else. That's the effect of saturation. And here's where visual and design and real strategic branding actually is coming back as an art, and it's important again. I think those days are gone when people just, tested everything. 1 million ads in your ad account and see what performs. In 5 years, you may get some information, but that's too much time. Or you are Google and you have all the world's information. Then you can do tiny little adaptations to your visual concept based on what data is telling you. Everybody else is going back to the arts, actually. Very important, very critical to distinguish yourself from everything else. That may be the factor for long-term survival. But otherwise, everybody's doing almost precisely the same things right now.
But that's authenticity, right?
Yeah, and authenticity, I think, is key. it's also the answer to maybe the question, how do we... Okay, we've started a business 5 years ago, online business, be it e-commerce or something else, maybe hospitality business, a boutique hotel, and you are getting bookings through online. You understand that. So we started this 5 years ago. Now we have a stable situation. How can we grow? Hire more agencies, maybe. Pay more for ads, maybe. Or maybe just go back to basics. Before there was this amount of technology, people had to rely on arts and understanding and some spark of luck. And big brands are going back to this for the purposes of enhancing their presence on digital media, which is much harder cookie than let's say old days TV and so on. The biggest advertiser in the world ever, Procter & Gamble, he just left the idea of ever figuring out digital. They just said, we will never figure that out. It just doesn't work for us. Yeah.
You mentioned family and marriage studies,
Yes.
and that you use tools from those studies in your other part of work design.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so basically we study like how we have different exercises, for example, that you can actually, when you're talking to people, there's always like, you have to understand like what are your, like what you're feeling and what your emotions are, and if this is like yours or if it's the other person's, and like what kind of energy is happening there. And sometimes you have to you have to understand what you're feeling. So with exercises you get better and better at basically distinguishing what you're actually feeling and what is that you're feeling it's actually yours and what is the other person's. So that also helps when you are with a client and communicating to basically, have this empathy of understanding how they're feeling. And, maybe some clients might not want to tell you, for example, or like feel awkward to tell you, oh, they maybe don't like something and whether, and like as a designer, you actually want them to tell you, oh, like, I don't like this, because your goal is to make the client happy and like to make what they want, right? And it's good to have this understanding of, what is happening in this space between you and the client. And it's also, the other thing is to, have this capability of emotional regulation, basically, because in business, as a designer and like many other fields, it's good to have this capability of like having capability of withstanding criticism, and like understanding that it's not personal. It's not, a personal attack if someone doesn't like something that you designed. It's just, okay, you did this and, you just communicate. And I guess those are some of the tools that I use also in this area.
Andrej, you said back to basics. Can you explain a little bit about your process working with the client? Some client comes and he tells you about himself, and then what?
Depends on their situation. I think I'm able to segment clients in roughly 3, 4, 5 segments based on where they appear to be in the journey. And this approach will then be different for, let's say, people that are only starting and still trying a little bit around, or for people that are in some level, they've reached some level and are probably thinking what else can they do to grow, or is it a good time to sell the business or so on. Or maybe we're talking global brand trying to figure out what exactly to do with e-commerce for their brands. So it depends on this situation. And just like Katja said, it's about understanding and getting it right about their situation. Working with many different clients for a long time has given maybe sometimes some ability to predict very good what the client is facing even before they say that. So even more important to be able to listen, to get the concrete information from the client, and then so the first thing is always get the best possible information from them and make sure you understand where they are, and then work with them from then on. So very important, very close. Oftentimes I'll be talking to all departments, not just marketing, everybody. Fulfillment, logistics, finance, technology, IT, everybody. And then bring all those things together and direct things on marketing level, direct things in the right direction. Because it's very easy to make very costly mistakes without having a total picture.
And when you have all the data,
Yeah.
then what do you do with this data?
And then the creative process begins. You have to think differently than everybody else for the client, or teach client, consult client how to do that. If they're going to do everything best practice, they're just going to end up the way everybody else ends up. I mean, they may be having a good time actually and be successful if their product is mega special. Everybody else, back to the drawing board, back to make your product better as soon as possible.
Can you share an example so we understand better?
I don't know if I can. There are NDAs, but I can give you a picture of this. A company, let's say a hospitality company, or an e-commerce, or a B2B company, has tried in 5 years 6 different agencies, 10 different internal online marketing people, and has always come back to the same result. And there needs to be somebody that tells them, look, this thing is not magic, but we got all this data about your product and all this data about your marketing. There's so much feedback. And if I take 10 minutes of time to study this, I can give you this advice about your product or about the way you're approaching this. So this is the methodology actually. And we're going in this circle with a lot of clients, fixing their core product a little bit, adjusting it for the online business, and also marketing approach as a whole.
And that's interesting. So you start even with adjusting the product, not just marketing.
Yeah. Going back to the core product, market fit. You want to sell anything online. You want to sell a superstar product from the 80s, like Nike shoes, let's say. Online, different cookie. You'll have to modify products for online and everything around it, and the process and the user experience. And a big thing in the last couple of years was direct-to-client strategy, like cutting off the middleman and go directly online is enabling you to go directly to the client. And there were some painful lessons in those kind of situations. So it really depends on the situation. A lot of dots to connect.
Branding is an important part of digital marketing.
Yes. Well, the way I see it is like, an individual level, you would say it's important, like the way you dress. And, this is basically kind of branding is dress for the business. And, you can't really escape the fact that people will make assumptions from what they see. And basically, you have to know what you want to show. And yeah, that's just really important. And what I said even in the beginning, that it's important that you're consistent so people can actually, see you even when they don't have a low attention span.
So branding, it's building a brand's name. And when you have so much brands like you have now, and a lot of them have names that people know, and you have a new brand, what do you do to push it out there?
Well, it's basically like there's not, a mold. Because if you want to have a mold, then you're kind of already, copy pasting everything. It's the authenticity, is the work you kind of have to put in like from, my perspective, there's obviously, these things about, more performance, and you have to be aware of, some colors evoke certain emotions, and maybe like not everything goes. There has to be like this balance. But, basically finding yourself in that, and it's, in a way, it's really a vulnerable process, but it's also really it really like brings out who you are, and you actually are, as an individual level, how you want to, bring yourself out and like be authentic. This is basically kind of the same way, but in a brand scale.
Katja mentioned authenticity a few times, so it's very important. But how are the creativity and performance connected? Is there a point where creativity must stop?
Yes, there is, and it should be talked very early in the project about where that point is, especially if the project is funded and it's a startup. Usually, people in startups would just like to delve on this part for as long as they can. They want to make the perfect experience, perfect brand, things. They want to be likable. Important thing. But there's a certain point in time where you just have to go.
I believe that there is like, creative process is chaotic in it, from default. And creatives do need deadlines. There have to be deadlines, because otherwise you can just, be creative till the end. And it's really important to have this balance, because otherwise like nothing's gonna get done. And sometimes you have to like understand that not everything has to be perfect, like from in the first go. Like, it's a living thing.
I mean, it's absolutely necessary. What you just said, not perfect. Don't do anything perfect. For online business, if you're gonna do one thing perfect, you're gonna do that one thing perfect. But every other 2 billion things that are important is just gonna be left out. So it's that much complex. And also do revisions. I mean that's a good way forward. Like go to some level of satisfaction of product and visual and everything, and then do testing of this holistic concept for a while. You can do this. You can't really test every little specific. And then do a revision every now and then, and upgrade the experience. I think that's the way forward in digital.
Okay, let's touch a little bit AI, because I think we are at the important junction with this technology. And how do you use it in design already?
Well, I specifically am more on, the branding, and I personally don't I think that you can get good ideas, but there's still, because everything is going AI, and it kind of shows that everything is, copy paste, and, you can't really then be that authentic. It's a good solution to a certain extent, but especially like in creative, like you at least have to put certain amount of your own design in there. And especially like in branding, at least you have to have the, colors and fonts and, I don't know, illustrations, whatever patterns kind of figured out. And then maybe you can use AI from that point on to, make designs, for to put on social media, I guess. But, the branding, like creating the brand, I don't think personally that it's a good idea.
What are your thoughts?
Well, what do people think about AI? In reality, it's software. Never forget it's software on very fast computers, on a lot of distributed computers. Is it useful for creative process? I think it is. It was very useful for very complex things. For me personally, I have this experience, but I heard one definition of what AI produces products are actually easy. In the instance of ChatGPT, it will not give you the correct answer. It will give you a form of how the correct answer should look. And so maybe it's still a little bit programmed into it, because if you got all the answers correct and all the best visuals from a machine, a lot of people will already losing their jobs too quickly. So maybe we're just giving a little bit of a buffer time. So that's this. It feels like it's going to be unpleasant.
But I think that also AI, like, there's this, we're scared like, oh, will graphic designers even have their jobs and everything? But the thing is that, there are clients that they don't know what they want. They don't even know what to tell
They
the
don't know
AI.
how to prompt the
They don't know what to tell.
Prompt it, what to do with that. We're back at art.
Yeah.
But your thoughts are different. You think that AI will be a problem for digital marketing and and design.
I think AI is going to get out of control. It's going to be a big danger for the world.
Well, yeah, in a sense, I believe that also, but I think that, basically in life in general, everything is changing throughout time. So basically the only constant is change. So it's just adapting, and, there's a lot of, about ethics and, what basically, going to the philosophy of what is, what you want to be and stand for it. But, we can't really, if we complain oh, AI is gonna take my job or whatever, if we just stand there and, do nothing, don't learn the AI tools or go, a different direction, then, what, it doesn't really help to just complain and be oh, this is the end. Life will go on.
Life will go on.
Yeah.
It's a lot different life than what we're used to. Again, I just want to go back to the fact that this is Python scripts on a lot of fast computers and nothing else. It's just so fast that we'll be unable to distinguish authentic from artificial. Just like if you remember in old computers like Commodore 64, you could digitize a picture, and you knew it is a digital render of an image, of a real life event. Now you can look at a digital render of a nice landscape photo, and you don't, if the conditions are right, you're not sure if you're looking at a real life situation or a rendition. And this same effect is happening with AI. It's software. It's like Space Invaders on steroids, and it's nothing else. So we should be aware of it. It's stupid software. Very useful for world domination or design work.
So your thoughts are very different on the topic of AI. But based on this, let's talk about trends. You should talk about trends in design, maybe.
Trends?
Future trends.
Oh, future trends. Oh, good question. Well, it's a good... Probably now this AI is, still getting better and better. So I believe it is gonna go that way, that basically, for performance purposes, everyone's gonna go there and just have AI stuff. But at the same time, I believe this will also somehow create that, a different appreciation of the designs that are actually human made. But I don't know yet how, we will distinguish and know. But I don't know, maybe, it's already, even art, for example, someone can make a painting and, you have a painting, but if they actually film, for example, the process of making the painting, it brings the value way up. So, I kind of have this idea that basically the showing the process of creation, it could be, this added value. Yeah.
I mean, don't get this wrong. Very useful, hyper productive. For people that are working on multitasking may go away. You just outsource the multi thing to AI tools, and you just steer the boat with your mind. Yeah. You do a lot of things creatively or whatever. Very useful tools, but manufacturing jobs gone. They're gone already. Now we're talking intellectual jobs going away, potentially. Then arts. And all we got left is spirituality, and that may go too. So it's stupid software, actually. Very useful now, but it's just stupid software. Very fast, very high resolution. It's like an image, it's like a mimic of reality, only better in a lot of aspects. I think it's important to think more philosophically about this. For business, for digital performance marketing, very useful. I can do 10 times more now with ChatGPT and everything else than I do. Yeah? I'd need a team of 5 people 10 years ago. Now I just need ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. Do the same. Right?
But today's, just to change the topic a little bit, today everything is measurable in digital marketing.
No, it's not. Nothing.
No, explain.
It's not. It's not. It's an illusion. Nothing. You don't measure it. There's just, I mean, yeah, you do measure, yeah? But the information that you get, like the average user, is really not useful. It's like already, you can't make any conclusions. You need order of magnitude more data than an average business gets through these tools to make any meaningful conclusions. The only company in the world that can make conclusions based on data is Google. Only one.
Because
they
it has
have
so much
enough data to do this. Everybody else should use arts to be successful in business online. Otherwise, end up like it's like your little spot is here.
In what way do you mean use arts?
Art.
Oh, okay.
So be authentic, be creative.
Creativity, art, authenticity. Think what your product, going back to basic, what needs your product fulfills. Go back to product creation. Don't waste time and money and energy on trying to test 1 million ads. You're not Google. So that's the truth, actually.
I think it's really important that you also think about, bringing value. Because, if you just think about, I want to make money, it's gonna show. Like, it's, there, like, I personally, believe there is, you kind of have this gut feeling or, sixth sense, whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. And it shows from in this energy that you're not actually there to help genuinely people and care about your product, that you're just there for quick buck in a sense. So
quick buck.
I mean, not quick buck. Sorry, that's maybe too.
I mean, everybody loves quick buck, especially digital marketing people, because it's really a lot of hard work. So we like quick buck and big buck.
Maybe sorry, I said that in a wrong way, but more if you're actually to put value into the products, because if that's not in there, it will show, and that's that.
Yeah, I think we're really coming back to be authentic. Think about what you're doing. Think about what selling means. It's an exchange of some utility for money. In the meantime, absolutely digital marketing gives you some data, some easier decision making, but it can also, all this data can also simply lead you in the wrong direction. And we see this 99 times out of 100. So consult with people who had this experience, and I think the solution is in young people. They instinctively understand what's going on, and I think young people are going back to authenticity and trying to be creative again and so on. Our generation was kind of hooked into this digital, very useful, very powerful, but you need 100 cases for one success, or maybe now you need 10,000 cases for one successful, really successful, authentic, online, digital business. Everything else is still, is elsewhere. And even digital marketing, the best performing digital marketing campaigns are the ones that have been thought through by a human being very well, creatively and holistically.
And even some things that we now know that are successful, someone had to came up with it in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you don't we always talk about something that someone did differently, because and that is how you stand out because you were actually, you took a risk. You took a risk to like think with your head and, took time to just be different. Yeah.
Based on all of this that we talked today, I would like to know from both of you, why choose this studio? What qualities that we talked about today does this studio have?
Well, this studio is like really wants to put tailor-made solutions and bespoke solutions, and that's how I really feel connected with this studio, and also just how Matej and Paul, how they are leading the company, this this tribe, as we say, and it just like it's basically we're authentic. We're trying to basically we're not trying to copy something. We're trying to create something that is actually us, and that's how like I really feel connected with the studio.
Yeah, for me it's opportunity actually to work in a team like that. It's the longest. It's a team that I've sticked with the longest in my life, and it gives me. For me, it's very important. I like to be all around a little bit, because I like to repeat cases and different cases. So I'm working on a lot of different things. And what working with this studio gives me is opportunity for some sort of a structure. And I think that's the reason I stuck with this team for so long, and I'm probably gonna stay with it, while also, scouting around and working on other projects. I think it's beneficial because then you can do a synthesis of what is actually going on and give your best client the best possible solution, because you work on a lot of different angles of things. And when you do things like that, it's very good to be a part of a team that has some structure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's
even the regular meetings, like beneficial for a chaotic mind.
I think it's really like there's this nice balance between creativity and structure, and like
It's a great place to great team to do both, to bring the best out of you and to also be a part of a coherent team.
And Matej and Paul are like really open, and they actually like listen to what you like each individual wants to do, and they want you to do things that you actually enjoy doing, and to basically incorporate it and not see it as a burden or like, but as a opportunity.
Yeah, it's a lot of opportunity. It's also the style, Paul and Matej, and how they work together, their relationship, and it's like for me it's the structure, like even simplest thing like a regular weekly meeting, and then on from there. So yeah, that's personal reason why I keep on working with the studio. 5-6 years, I don't know, 7, probably be 10 then retirement.